Alright friends, today we are going to be making our Charles McGee inspired relief sculptures. So you're going to get a handout to share with a partner, a black marker, a black piece of paper, a white piece of paper, and you'll also need a bottle of glue or a glue stick if that's all you have. Remember to open our glue. We know it's closed if the orange is touching the white. We will twist. Now there's a little space and we should be able to hear our glue. That means it's open. So we're gonna start with the black piece of paper and we want to fold this in half. So I am going to do my best to line up the edges and then I'm going to crease. And we're doing this because we want a sturdy surface for our sculpture to sit on. So I'm gonna reopen this, and on one side of my paper I'm going to dot just around the edges. I don't really need any glue in the middle, just around the edges. And again, I'm only putting a couple dots, and they're really small dots. We do not want any big globs of glue on our project. Then I'm going to fold this over and press around the edges so that it really sticks together. And then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to write my name and class code on one side. And I know it'll be hard to see, but my name is on there. And then I'm going to set my little base to the side for now. So now I have this big sheet of white paper, and we need to make some strips to put our Charles McGee patterns on. So I'm going to start with my paper horizontal or long ways. And I'm going to start with some long strips. So I'm going to put these across this way. Now we want them to be kind of wavy on the edges. Some of them can be straight, but we do not want them super duper difficult to cut out. So we want to do long, loose waves. I can have one that kind of has a straight edge and maybe comes to a point. And then I think I can put one more long strip in here. And then down here I'm gonna put strips going the other way. And we want these strips to be not super duper thick, because if they're super duper thick, it's gonna be really hard to put them on our paper. So we want some really thin and some a little bit bigger. So I was able to fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 strips on my piece of paper. You probably will only need about 10, but it's always better to have a few extras so that you have some options. Now we are going to use our handout and our brains to come up with some fun patterns to put in these. One thing I want to note is we want some that are more filled in with black and some that are not as filled in with black. So I can do some dots on this one. And I'm coloring in my dots to give it a little bit more of a fill in. And then I can go around the edges. So here's one that's a little bit more filled in, and then I can do one that's not as filled in. So I can do some stripes across, and I'm using the tip of my marker for a thinner line. Then I can do some other strips going down, and this time I'm using the side of my marker. And your patterns don't have to look anything like my patterns. You can come up with your own. You can use just the ones from the paper. It's up to you. But we can see this one is more filled in and this one is less filled in. That'll create some contrast. So I'm going to go in and add some details to all of my little strips. Okay, so I have finished adding all of my designs. Now I'm gonna start cutting out my strips. So I'm gonna start with my big strips first. Okay, so I have all of my strips. I'm gonna bring back out my background. I'm gonna make sure the side that says my name is on the back. I'm gonna start by gluing down some of my shorter strips. And I want to glue these down to the base of my sculpture. So I'm gonna flip this over. Again, I'm just gonna put a few glue dots around the edge. This one I have sticking off the edge, so I'm really only gonna put some glue dots in the middle and leave these ends clear. That way I don't end up having glue sticking off the back. And if it needs a little bit more, like this little corner is sticking down, I can go underneath and put a dot. Okay, so I have 5 stuck down to my base. You'll have as many as you need. Now I'm gonna add in my other little ones. So I'm waiting on my big ones. To put these down in a way where they stick out so it is a relief sculpture, we need to make tabs. So I have the side that I drew on facing me. I'm gonna fold down the ends underneath. Now when I flip it over, I have these 2 little tabs. This is where I'm going to put my glue. So I'm gonna put a dot of glue on this side and a dot of glue on this side. And then I'm going to stick it onto my piece. And for these, because they're up in the air and they're kind of folded, we kind of have to hold them for a little while to get them to stick. And kind of wiggling them a little bit helps a little bit too. So there is my first one. We can see it is sticking up off of my paper. I'm gonna do that with a few other ones. So now I have my big pieces, and these are fun because we can kind of weave them through some of the little tunnels that we already made. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue those down now. Alright, so I have added all of my strips to my base. You can see there's lots and lots of layers in there. While I was doing that, you saw a few of them lifted or the tabs popped off. That is completely okay. You're just gonna re-stick it and make sure you hold it for a little bit longer. I can see this one lifting a little bit. So you just wanna really press down those tabs for as long as you can. Once you are finished to here, you are going to set it on the counter so that the glue can dry. You are going to make sure you twist your glue closed. Make sure you can't hear it anymore. And then you will be all finished with your Charles McGee inspired relief sculpture.